Alright, g'day again. Richard Musgrave-Evans here and welcome back. Back in this studio. Now what I've got here is a massive Belgian linen. It would be the thickest Belgian linen I've ever painted on. It's seriously really coarse stuff. I'm really excited to paint on this. So I bought a massive roll of it and I feel like it's going to really enhance my technique with palette knife and whatnot, plenty of oil paint. So it's a really coarse linen. I've put 3 clear acrylic primer coats on it, so it looks like it's just raw, but it's still got the beautiful protection from the oil paint, etc. I'm going to be using the palette knives, like I said, and tons of oil paint. Alright, so I've just taped off a line here, back down the surf today. I love painting water, love painting breaking waves. Now the concept of this painting is going to be the transparency of the wave, so you feel like you can see into it. Should be a bit of fun. As I was talking about this one, I've taped the horizon just level just to get me started. I'll put that line in and then pull that tape off, and then the painting from there on in will be nice and level from start to finish. Alright, let's go for the biggest differences now between having that and the subject. I think I'll start off with the darks. I like to put the darks in first. If you've watched me paint before, the darkest darks go in first and then the lights go over the top. Later on, as I'm progressing, I may do it the opposite way around, but as an initial plan, it starts off dark first, wet on wet, putting the lights on top of it. Alright, let's get into it. Okay then, well, let's just get some of the darkest darks. I'm going to go alizarin crimson. Bit of viridian green, that makes a nice dark. They're the opposite on the colour wheel. You've got red one side, you've got green the other. Put them both together, you get an extreme dark. Alright, so that'll be the horizon like I was suggesting. I reckon I'll go, this is all very important when we start this line, about here. Just feel that in. Feel the composition how I want it today. That can go around like so. You can see that's a very coarse, the way the paint's hitting the highlights is very coarse. It's going to be interesting, it's going to be fun. Haven't actually painted on something so coarse before, so this will be a bit of fun and a bit of an adventure as we go along. Okay, knocking those. A bit more viridian green and alizarin crimson. Would I want to establish my dark, a bit dark there. I'll tell you what, one thing I've noticed already, having such a coarse, it really does eat the paint up, but that just adds to the technique, I guess. You've got that beautiful chunky style technique with the palette knife, so I reckon it's going to enhance it. Just stand back for a minute and have a look. Alright, that's working out alright. Let's change colours here, change tack. I'll go for ultramarine blue with a bit of white, maybe a bit of burnt sienna just to knock it back a bit. It's graded ever so slightly with the burnt sienna because how I said I had the red and the green opposite on the colour wheel, when you put them both together it makes a dark. Same deal, burnt sienna is pretty much an orange, and orange and blue are opposite on the colour wheels, and when you put them together you also make a dark. So just by putting that little bit of burnt sienna in with my blue, I've keyed it off a little bit and it's not quite as bright blue, it's a little bit darker and more neutral in chromatic saturation. And I want it fairly dark. What do we got? Just going to go a bit of magenta too because I want it to be slightly more red dominant than that. Magenta and white. Let's just see what we've got. Just keep on mixing till I get it right. Don't start applying yet until I've got the basic value and colour that I want. It's close on, we'll go with that. So it's predominantly ultramarine blue. but it has a bit of burnt sienna and a bit of alizarin crimson thrown in with it. There we go, put that on lovely. Just getting a feel for where I want things to be. Let's go a bit more ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. A little bit more white. There we go, like that. A bit more magenta. Right, a bit more burnt sienna. Just get a general feel, general coverage. So. Now, I'll peel that tape off. It served its purpose. So, get some white. More of that ultramarine blue. Going to paint the sky in now, just get that blocked in before we get stuck into more of the water. Just get a bulk of colour, plenty of it. A bit more white, a bit more blue, a bit more magenta. A bit of burnt sienna, so I'm making a neutral type of haze on the horizon, I guess you could say. I just go a bit darker in value, so I'll go a little bit more blue. Burnt sienna and magenta. Mix that up. What a brew that one is. Plenty of it. Let me have a look. Yeah, that's nice. That's good. Alright, so I've got the knife upside down and I'll bring it. I won't quite touch yet. I'll touch soon. Don't want to smudge it just yet, but I'll bring it down in later and blend them. But for now, just move that across. Get that down into there. It can go down like so. It's almost touching, but it's not quite touching just yet. And a bit more here. That's good. Just get the bulk of paint on. Like I said, I'm going to need tons of paint. It's such a coarse linen. It's all part of it though, isn't it? It's absorbing the paint, but it's going to be great later on. The technique, I feel like that technique's going to be great for pulling white surf across the breaking water and whatever else, that extra texture. Alright, so we've got that one. That's all going good. So now I'll go up a layer. I'll go to yellow ochre. Tons and tons of white. Ultramarine blue. Bit more blue, bit more of the yellow ochre, bit more of the blue. Just trying to give that feeling of the sky just above the salty. You've got the salty haze just there, and the colour of the sky just above that. What do we got? Ever so slightly green. Just put that on lovely. Just has a slight green twang about it. Pull that together. This is great to be painting again. I absolutely love painting. There we go, that's good. A little bit more ultramarine blue with that. Get that mixed up as quickly as possible. Go up this layer. There we go. That's working, so I'll just pull that together a little bit more. There we go. Alright, a couple layer ultramarine blue, and going through that blue. Let's get some more out. Just mix. Let's have a look. So slightly more blue, slightly less white. Just a nice clean blue. I'm just going to add the tiniest bit of white. Just bring those two together a little. That's it, look at that. That's good. Chunky. I've run out of blue, better get some. Got the big tins of blue. Fantastic stuff. I'll grab a big slab of that out. Beautiful. So this is the ultramarine blue. That is great stuff. All right, a little bit more of that ultramarine blue. Put that on. Oh, we've got a little bit of junk there. All the paint tubes, cartridges. I'm using cartridges, I'm using tubes, and I'm using tins. Just whatever I've got lying around at the time. Bring that up nice and neat. Now blend it in a bit so they're not staring at each other. Bit of a workout, always a bit of a workout pulling these colours together. It's coming together nicely. Just keep on pulling all these colours together. Coming along nice, blending beautifully. Just pulling them all together with little marks, but with a big knife. Got the knife upside down currently. All right, well that's all going good. Now, let's get some of that green surf in, eh? What are we going to do there? Let's just put that down there for now. Viridian green, yellow ochre, bit of that blue. I can see I'm going to need some more viridian green than that. Bit more yellow ochre. Bit of white to lighten the value. Just want to get the basic colour of the wave itself. So yellow ochres, viridian greens, whites. More white to lighten that value. More yellow ochre. Beautiful, beautiful colours. Yeah, that's pretty high key. There will be some parts of that high key. Like that. There's also going to be darker pieces as well. I'll stick some of that high key in. What I reckon it should be. Like that. Nice. There, up there, and there. Viridian green. Let's just try a little bit of ultramarine blue with that, see what we get. Bit of yellow ochre. Just feeling it as I go. Bit more ultramarine blue, viridian green. I can go in there. Nice coverage. Plenty of paint on. That can be the back of the wave rolling over there. More white. Ultramarine blue. Viridian green. Just basically starting to stick some breaking foam and whatever else in here. Slap that on. Like that. Go on there. Bit more white, blue, bit of burnt sienna with the blue to knock it back to more of a neutral colour. Bit more white. So this is a key down white, so I'm using pure white, and then I've got ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, and those two on the opposite of the colour we've mixed with the white are sending it quite a neutral. So it's not pure white. It's off-white, and I'll use the pure white later on for accents. Just put some of that in there. That can be there. That can be up there like so. Dancing. The water's just dancing along the top here. Just broken the horizon. Whoa, mix. Now it's not pure like I said, but it's a little bit more white than it was a second ago. That in there. That in there. Okay, so I'm after a transparent wave. As I said, I want to be quite transparent when I want to see through it, into it. So we'll make some slightly darker values again. We'll use the burnt siennas, ultramarine blue to make a type of neutrally colour, but mainly the burnt sienna. Still look. Just drop a little bit of that in there. So we're looking into the wave there, so you can just see through it slightly like that. There you go. Alright, so I've still got the pure raw linen just here. What I might do is mix up a bit of a rock colour. We use burnt siennas, ultramarine blues, ultramarine blue to grey it because it's quite a dark rock. Put that on there. Jeez, we're going to go through that stuff, I can tell you. Let's go burnt sienna, ultramarine blue again. There's a bit of weed on it. Slightly touch. There's weed on the rock, which is giving it more of that yellow ochre dominant sort of thing going on. Darken that value. That can be there. We'll go for some ultramarine, burnt sienna. Darken that off again. Wet rock there. Oh, what fun this is. Applying the paint, thrashing the paint on. Go for the red, the blue, the brown, get it quite dark. That can go on there. That can be there. Still coming along nicely, a bit more yellow ochre in that mix. Broken rocks. That's it, nice. Giving the feeling and the illusion of movement with the waves splashing over. Just that rock is wet, so the waves have just splashed over, so I want to get all that feeling of movement and wetness. Pretty in greens, let's just get a bit more of that coverage. Blend all that together. Tons of that in there. really block all that in. Plenty of paint to work with. Blend it on nicely. There. A little bit of that in there. And in here. Pure white mixed with all those other colours. There we go. That's all coming along. Get some clean, just a little bit of white here and there. Jut it around as the wave's dancing. Bit more in here. Feel the energy of the wave. So I've got some cleaner whites going on here now. They're not pure white, but they're getting a lot closer. Stick a bit of that on. Some white highlights coming through here. Come up here. Move that around a bit here. Just digging a key down reflection there. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is get this blue horizon and the sky and bring them both together. Just pull them into each other. Because there's a distance, they're not the subject, so what the idea is, you want it to be keyed down and played down, you don't want it to draw too much attention. So you soften her off. Just pull through, softening it off. Just going to put a bit of pure white because there's the foam's dancing around, like I said, on the rocks as well as the surf. It's been, everything's wet, so just going to stick a little bit of highlights here and there to show wetness. And what I'll do is I'll take someone away in a minute and I'll just put some in. Put it all in first, see what we got, and then start taking some back. Let's get the movement. start putting on, now that we've got a lot of surf in, start putting, just laying on some beautiful clean bits of white. I just want to plough some beautiful chunks in there, real thick. I want to mimic the flow of the rock and the weed. A little bit in here and there. Okay, now we'll get some pure white accents with a slightly smaller knife. As much as it pains me to do it, I'll get the smaller knife out. Just lay some nice little highlights on here and there. Going around for accents, I'll stick a bit of green, dark turquoise, just to highlight some of these areas in here. But I want it to be like the waves really standing up and arresting, about to drop over, about to break. Then just get some pure white. Stick those pure whites in those same sort of areas, like so. So you can see what's happening is got all the movement and all the bright, rich colours in here. The translucency of the wave, you can see what I've done is I've put the burnt siennas and whatever in there to try and make, like, as the wave's standing up, you can see straight into it, and that always gives the great feeling of the reality, I guess. It's an illusion of reality. As soon as you can see through water, it becomes way more realistic than if it's just some solid opaque thing. So by putting details in the water as the wave's standing up and arresting, it's the best place to place them. If you try and place them down low, it's not so obvious, but as the wave's standing up, you can see straight in. So I've done that, and I feel like I've got some great movement with the technique all through here. You've got your big slabs of really aggressive, tons of paint laid on, thrashed around. The reason I did that was to give the feeling of movement, because this is a wave that's in motion rather than just a still. You need that energy, that feeling. So I'm moving the paint around quickly. I feel like I've got that, I've captured that feeling of movement. Same time, I've got other areas, rest areas, where the wave's standing up and peaking and it's about to fall and it's become stationary. It's like gravity's about to take over and she's about to drop. So I feel like here, you've got the energy of stagnant, or not stagnant, but stillness and gravity, contrasting dramatically with other areas where there's a lot of movement, and that builds up that energy, that contrast between the two. On the whole, I like the way I've handled the foam, got some nice subtle greys and blues in the foam here, keyed down, and then saved the highlights to pure whites, as you saw, for the focal areas. The taped off horizon in the background, you can see what I've done there. I've softened it off now because it's not about the background. I wanted that line to be absolutely horizontal. But at the same time, now it's the backdrop, a salt haze backdrop. It's keyed down. It's this backdrop, the setting for the main crescendo, which is the wave. So I guess, yeah, an out of focus backdrop for the main subject. All right, so on the whole, feel like everything's moving right. Okay, before we go any further, let's just get that camera off, come buzzing right in and have a look and see what you guys think. All right, thank you.